April, I was not yet alive, 11 years and 1 month before my birth. But as it was reported in the news that April day in Chicago, the mayor, the dignitaries of the town, the council, all of the media were present at the train station, and they were eagerly awaiting the arrival of a train carrying the Nobel Prize winner from 1953. And eventually the train made its way into the station, and as human nature would have it, everyone pushed forward a bit, and as the train came to a stop at the platform, the doors opened, another push forward as people began to come off the train. And eventually there in the doorway of the train, ready to step down, stood a man, 6'3", with a very bushy mustache. The cameras started to go. The long-awaited Nobel Prize winner had arrived. And the mayor, the councilmen, the dignitaries made their move forward, but rather than looking at these individuals, he was looking above their heads, and he started to walk down the train and walk right past them through the crowd, and he came in, he stopped in front of an elderly black woman, and he asked her where she was going, and she said to the bus, and so he took her suitcases and escorted her to the bus, saw her onto the bus, stowed her luggage, and he tipped his hat to her and made his way off the bus, and as he was walking down the steps of the bus to the blacktop, there was the mayor, the councilman, and all of the media, speechless, for there stood in their midst Dr. Albert Schweitzer, the 1953 Nobel Prize winner. And it was reported in the news that day from one of the media members present. He stated, "This is the first time that I've seen a sermon walking, and how I love to see a sermon walking. I've heard many sermons given, but how wonderful it is to see a sermon walking." Before we were ready to sing the opening hymn, Josh mentioned that if it was not Sunday, we would be celebrating the feast of St. Francis of Assisi. And thought it was rather ecumenical of him, since Francis is, the founder of all the Franciscan orders, and he teaches at a Jesuit school. So I thought it was a very ecumenical moment there, And Francis was attributed for saying many things. Sometimes those of us who aren't Franciscans wonder what he really said and what was legendary. But one of the many quotes that Francis gave was, "Preach the gospel always. Use words only when necessary." Preach the gospel always. Use words only when necessary. This afternoon, there were some 300 of us from St. Greg's. I do not know the number from the diocese who did just that. We weren't the sermon walking, we were the sermon standing on Niagara Falls Boulevard as we stood for the respect of human life. We were not allowed to speak. It was an hour of silent prayer. Some of you in church right now were there at Life Chain. And really, we could see in the faces of many who drove by different reactions. And among many, I hope and believe, seeing our signs, seeing our great number, minimally thought about the respect for human life, if not perhaps even were moved to change their opinion. What sermon have you preached yourself today?